does quantitative and qualitative look at data, and he can really help your company. So let's go over to Mark. And here's Mark. Say something, Mark.
Hey, John, thanks so much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your group out there. I appreciate what you're doing to get the word out about how we might use quantitative techniques to help people accomplish their objectives. So,
okay, well, I got a big, huge, complicated slide, so I'm going to knock you off to the side and put up your beautiful slide. So take it away, Mark.
All right. Well, thanks so much, John. I am working on a project right now that I think is near and dear to everyone's heart. It's not only understanding about how to get the best customers out there, but also about how to get the right people to deliver the best product for you, be it a product and or a service. And I really relate that back to an old saying, and you guys can help me finish this saying if you like. It's not what you know, and it's not who you know. See, many of you probably thought we were going to go to that part. So it's not what you know, and it's not who you know. It's what you know about who you know. So understanding what you know about your customers is key to growing your business. And then also understanding about your individuals on your team that make up the variety of teams within your organization is key to delivering the right product or service to those customers. Now, as John mentioned, I'm Mark Graham, and I've been president of entelligy marketing since the late 90s. And basically, we're in the business of helping businesses become better. So we're building businesses better, and we think the best way to do that is to understand an overall framework. And that framework really is about 5 different areas. And I want to share that with you today in our talk about the framework that I think can also help you in growing your company and basically making your business better. Well, let's talk about the 5 key areas or the pillars of the framework. And again, I want to make sure that we understand that we're talking about 2 different areas. One is customers, and one really is your enterprise and or your teams associated with your company. The 5 areas are data gathering, information integration, market knowledge, performance measures, and touchpoint strategies. And as many of you have heard John speak and bring others in to talk about data and analytics and the processes, this looks probably pretty familiar to you. The data gathering looks at getting all the types of data that might be out there, and the information integration, quite frankly, it might be the databases associated with that or how you might maintain or keep that data compiled. The market knowledge is where you start to gain the information, where you get the profiles and do the exploratory data analysis and get real down in the trenches and start doing segmentation and predictive modeling. But we always want to measure something, and some type of performance measure is key in the sense that you've got to be able to measure how good you're doing. Or you want to measure responses, you want to measure dollars generated, maybe you just want to measure clicks, whatever it might be. But all of that's important in what you're doing to develop your touchpoint strategy. And of course, the 3 that we've always thought of are acquisition, cross-sell, and retention. The key here, though, is to take a look at and understand what happened when you touch that customer. Again, nothing new that you've not talked about or heard John speak about. But one of the key things here, and it's just a reminder, is always close the loop. Every time you touch the customer, always go in and make sure that you capture that information, be it good, bad, or indifferent, and put it back in your database so that you can go back through the process again and understand why people responded or didn't respond in a particular way. So this is the overview of the whole customer EKG about the framework. It introduces really the 5 pillars here. But the key thing that many people leave out and forget to focus on is actually on the enterprise side. And on the enterprise, we're going to use those 5 key characteristics, again, the pillars: data gathering, information integration, market knowledge, the performance pieces, the touch points, and then again, what did we learn from everyone that's on our team that we might capture that? I'm going to spend most of the time today talking about the data gathering component of this and make sure that we all understand what to do there. But let's look at this across the board. Data gathering. I think it's important that everyone understands what the corporate goals are and what the team goals might be within your organization. How does your team goals actually relate to what's going on at the corporate level? Also, it's important to understand the behavioral measures. We like to use a tool called DISC, where we can actually go in and measure the energy that you're putting into dominating problems or influencing people or actually studying the environment that you're currently in. And finally, complying with the rules. How do you fit in there? What's the behavior measures of the people within your team? It helps you to communicate better. It helps you to work together better. It helps you to present things better. Also, motivation. What motivates you? What motivates you to get the job done? Are you in the right particular position? If you're someone who's an altruistic person and not very political or not individualistic, you might not want to be in sales. If you're someone who's more into aesthetics rather than political situations or empowering yourself to do things individually, you might not be the right person for sales. Salespeople tend to be more driven. The altruistic and the aesthetic people tend to be more team-oriented, laid back. And then also, what are your talents? What do you actually bring to the table? What are you
Mark,
going to do?
and
that's
Mark,
going
when
to...
you say
No,
you're not talking about just like the CEO or the CMO. Are you talking
no, I'm
about
talking about the whole team here.
Oh,
This is
okay,
the
good.
team concept that's going across the enterprise, because this all is going to relate back up to the whole organizational EKG. You know, we talk
Oh, okay.
about how do we understand our customers, but wouldn't it be good to also understand your team, you know? And at the organizational level, that was a great lead-in, John, because at the organizational level, we'll take and get an assessment that's 110 questions, you know, 110 to 117 questions across the whole managerial front, and separate out the CEO to see if, in fact, the CEO in this case is on the same page as his managers, okay? And then if you look at the people who are below the managerial level, we're also going to take and ask them a series of questions. Not quite the 117, but it's going to ask questions that they have information. What's the vision? Can people really dictate what the focus is? How do you feel working with others? You get that sense of, in the organization, of how people actually can get along and how everything from the top down is being communicated, sort of to see if everyone's on the same page. So at the real data gathering piece of the enterprise EKG, not much unlike the customer EKG. On the customer EKG, of course, you're looking at demography and account history and purchase patterns and where people live and that type of stuff. On the data gathering piece of the enterprise EKG, you're understanding what their behaviors are, what talents they bring, what motivates them, and then from an organizational perspective, how are the managers, the leaders, providing the information for the organization of the focus, the vision, the mission that makes everyone comfortable and says, hey, let's get behind these people. You know, research shows that if you get behind the people, you're going to do better product, you're going to provide better products, and you're going to have happier clients. But this is just an introduction to a framework. Remember, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's what you know about who you know. Who we know are our team members. So we want to gather that data, capture that information, go out there and see how those people compare to global database people, to best practices on the organizational EKG of over 4,800 companies that have taken the same assessment. And then we want some type of performance measures. I believe that people manage and do well 90 days out. What are you going to do in 90 days? Look at doing it again. And what are the touch point strategies? What can you do to enhance what you're doing? I like the 30, 60, 90-day goal setting and tracking plan. We got something called the Diamond Tracking Index that focuses getting goals accomplished using a baseball diamond. You know, you're setting your goals gets you to first. Your first 30 days gets you to second. Your next 60 days get you to third, and the last 90 get you home. And we got some stretch goals. So the whole KPI is, what's your best batting average and what's your best slugging percentage. Use these 5, and it'll help you out not only in customers, but also with your enterprise. Good luck to you. And remember,
wow, that was fast, Mark. You do this way better than I do. I got to give you credit because we did this unrehearsed as always. Well, thanks,
well,
Mark. And if they want to get a hold of you, just find me. Easy comment on the YouTube or Periscope, and we'll get you in touch with Mark. Thanks a lot, Mark.
thanks so much, John.